I've talked about ranking channels, I've talked about layout channels, I've talked about the genre community for a little bit, and I've even gone as far as to talk about a lot of different types of content. But there's one type of content that I haven't talked about, and that is about mashups. I feel like to some sort of degree, one cannot criticize themselves without being seen as either biased or as having a skewed opinion of sorts. Now obviously that's not the case for everyone. I mean, obviously we've seen it time and time before, John, also known as the Red Hawk director or just Red Hawk, criticizing the ranking community and as well criticizing other people. Now so far I haven't seen people make any sort of video or public statement when it comes to mashups, but I know that people like to talk about it, and I've been asked before about my opinion on the state of mashups, and today I think I've decided to talk about it. Now I think for starters I want to address the whole buzzword that is when a community or a fad dies. Oh, mashups are dying. Oh, the dab is dying. Oh, Fortnite is dying. Oh my goodness, what shall we ever do? Now, while mashups aren't dying, I don't really believe mashups are dying, to be completely honest. If mashups were dying, we wouldn't have seen as big of an explosion of mashup memes this year. I will say, starting out, that my love for Monster Cat mashups are somewhat dying. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, it's no secret at all that obviously as of recently, and this year especially, I've been making a very conscious effort to expand my content and to do differently. Last year, I only, for the most part, did mashups, and it was only nearing the end of the year that I kind of decided I wanted to go a more commentary route. I've always liked talking about things, and I thought if I could do something related to the EDM community, then I mean it's something that people might be interested in. And obviously the reception this year for a lot of my Panda talks have been pretty much positive for the most part. Now I want to bring it back about 4 to 5 years ago. You guys might not remember this channel, and I wouldn't be surprised if you guys may not ever know of this channel, and that is because there was once a channel by the name of Monster Cat Mashups. Back then there was only one main channel, and you know, there was a couple other channels that would upload Monster Cat themed mashups at the time. Stormwaves is one of them actually. Back then you could upload a Monster Cat mashup and you would basically be guaranteed a couple thousand views pretty easily. Fast forward to a couple of years, I entered the game, and obviously these older channels haven't uploaded as much. An exception would be Storm, as we still see he continues to upload nowadays, and he's been killing it on the mixed game. I come along and I start doing these mashups on the daily, and I don't get 5,000 views per mashup. Obviously some of them do pretty well, but I average about, you know, 1,000 views, give or take. Now for the state of what my channel was at the time, I was about 200 to 500 subscribers, alright? So it wasn't a big channel, but I was racking in some pretty good views. Fast forward it to about the present day, about a year, maybe 2 years ago, I'm uploading a Monster Cat exclusive mashup, and I'm getting the same amount of views I got when I was 200 subscribers. That says a lot about how the community has changed. Now the first thing that people want to point at is that the community is dying, and I don't believe that to be the case at all. The reason for that is I would say that the community is thriving more than ever. Resources on mashing, whether it be BPMs, keys, resources on learning how to mash, has become easy to come by. So many people now can download a demo of FL and start mashing. So many people start using Audacity, video editors. People are using whatever they can to get their hands on. And that's the thing. Mashups for a while now have been a pretty oversaturated content. Now it seems like anyone can make a mashup. No longer are the days where people subscribe to my channel for mashups, because the fact of the matter is, why would they watch me when they can do it themselves? I remember talking to this with my good friend Matt, and this was around the time that I kind of started doing mashups. A lot of people recommended why not name my channel to Monster Cat Mashups, or you know, the Only Pixel 19 Monster Cat Mashups. Basically, have it titled, you know, something along the lines of Monster Cat. And mind you, this was the time before trademarking was a thing. It is actually because of the whole trademarking issue that arose with Monster Cat that the channel Monster Cat Mashups doesn't exist anymore, sadly. The only proof that I can show for myself that this channel actually existed was the day that I surpassed them in subscribers. But the reason I never wanted to associate myself, or basically confine myself to a whole of a Monster Cat community masher, is the fact of the matter is that in the whole spectrum and in the giant ocean that is EDM and music in general, Monster Cat is a drop. Maybe not a drop, let's give it like a cup of water. Alright, Monstercat is a cup of water in this ocean of music. And so to confine myself to this tiny cup, there's only so much that I can do and so many people I can reach out to, until the fact of the matter is I cannot grow anymore as a channel and as a person. To some this might sound somewhat egotistical or maybe very optimistic of me, but the fact of the matter is if I always ever contain myself to the Monstercat community, then I will never grow or become something bigger than Monstercat. Now obviously I'm never going to become bigger than Monstercat, but if I confine myself to the community that is Monstercat, then that means that the people who like Monstercat will only ever follow my content. Nowadays, because I have Panda Talks, because I have mashups that include other communities, other channels, other memes, I have a wider reach of people that I can reach out to. If Monstercat was to die the very next day, I would not worry about it, because the fact of the matter is I am able to now sustain myself without Monstercat. And so while a lot of people are pointing to the fact that the Monstercat mashup community is dying, I would say rather that a lot of people just aren't growing. I know a lot of people in the community who have done this because they enjoy making mashups, and I enjoy making mashups. Obviously, garnering some views is pretty nice too, to see people appreciating your content. But the fact of the matter is that there's a number of people who also did this because it was an easy way to get some quick views. The thing is though, they haven't learned to actually expand farther than that. And so now we look at 2018 going into 2019, we have more Monstercat mashers than ever, and we have less views to spread apart with each other. The fact of the matter is, a lot of us have already taken all of the views that we could have gotten. Doing daily Monstercat mashups is in no way sustainable to growing a sort of audience or any sort of quote-unquote fan base or following. It's already been done, and if you want to stand out nowadays, you have to spread out and you have to make better content, or at least make yourself somewhat identifiable, make yourself different. There tends to be a stigma sometimes of people trend chasing or trying to, garner views just because something is popular. I think to a degree people should respect the grind and should be able to, go after something that is popular and to capitalize off of it. I don't mind being accused of it. I made a Sicko Mode mash and I made a Popstars mash, but that isn't to say that I also made them because I genuinely enjoyed those two songs. I knew for a fact that by doing that, I probably might not get a lot of views, because for the fact of the matter is that a lot of people probably don't like quote-unquote mainstream music or K-pop music, even though I've done 5 K-pop mashes now that have all been pretty well received, so I know that's a pretty reliable content to refer to. When you confine yourself to the small EDM community of Monstercat, to the even smaller community of Monstercat fans, to the even smaller community that is the Monstercat mashup community, there's only so much that can be done. I think, like I said, it's growing, it's not dying, but if that's all you're ever going to confine yourself to, then there's not much left to grow in. I mentioned John at the beginning of this video, and I'm going to mention him again because I want to make a sort of example. If any of you have been keeping up with John, he's been doing a lot of rankings for other labels such as Bitbird, he's been doing playlist exchanges, and he's been sort of broadening away from Monstercat. And I mean, his content hasn't changed much, he's still ranking, but he just started pushing away from Monstercat, because kind of like what I said in my ranking video, is that ranking is an oversaturated content. And if we're going to confine ourselves to just ranking Monstercat music, which, I mean, let's get a throwback to Matter while they were still around. All they ever did was rank Monstercat. They ranked the albums, they ranked the artists, they ranked an artist's discography, they ranked the songs of the year, they ranked the songs of the month. There's only so much you can squeeze out. Yes, they did have their times where they ranked other communities, but if you're only going to be ranking Monstercat music, you're going to be confined to a very small community, a very small viewership base, and as such will have a very small reach of people. So when people message me asking me if I'm worried that the mashup community is dying, that my videos aren't doing as well as I used to, I'm not worried, because I know the fact of the matter is that I'm just gonna have to change my content and adapt to the changing times. I've been doing more meme mashups, and those have done me very well. I got really lucky with This Is the Crab Rape. I never expected that to blow up, but it did, and it's carried me pretty hard. I'm not expecting something like that to happen ever again, and so ever since that day, I've been trying to keep the people who I've garnered to continue watching my content. And obviously, I'm still gonna do stuff related to popular trends, because if I want views and I want to grow, that's what I'm gonna have to do. This is what I did with the audio video, and even though I wasn't the first person to talk about it, it's still doing exceptionally well. I'm sorry if people kind of thought that this video was like a lot of rambling and me repeating. I know it might seem to be like that, and I kind of just realized that I've been talking for a while. I'm gonna try to cut this down a bit, but I guess as a TLDR, I don't think the community is dying, but I do think that at least when it comes to growing anymore, it's not going to happen. You're gonna have to spread out, you're gonna have to look for bigger oceans and bigger cups of water to share from. As that one guy that I literally keep forgetting said one time ago, Innovate or die. And if people think that you can grow and create a massive following and become the next big YouTuber or the next big EDM guy just by doing Monster Cat mashups, it ain't gonna happen. So mashups aren't dying, but if you're a Monster Cat masher and that's all you do, you are going to die. Damn, that got pretty dark pretty fast. Like, I didn't mean that to be happening. I'm sorry, guys. Anyways, that's gonna be all for this video for today. I want to talk about, is Monster Cat dying? Woo, I mean, damn, we're talking about a lot of death this week, aren't we? Anyways, yeah, do you guys think mashups are dying? What is your opinion on mashups? I'd like to see the discussion between a lot of other mashers in the community. But yeah, anyways, that's all from me. Comment down below what is your favorite letter of the alphabet, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!